everybody, it is me, Jurassic Alt, here to say that today we are going to be talking about Tales from the Pizzaplex, Book 4, Bobbiedots Part 1. I'm very excited potential stuff that I am seeing in the story for the next part, for Part 2 that I want to talk about, but yeah, let's get started. So the story is about our main character named Abe, who's working at the Mega Pizzaplex and wants to live in the Faz Tower. The Faz Tower is kind of like just an apartment dorm kind of thing that employees can live at, that if they're high enough ranked Mega Pizzaplex, they can live in the Faz Tower. He works in an office at Mega Pizzaplex, and everyone goes out to eat, but Abe has to kind of go through the Mega Pizzaplex and kind of duck and hide from security cameras and security staff to get to the trash compactor to eat old pizza, and he lives in Roxy Road, lives and sleeps there. Abe goes to the bathroom in the morning to clean himself up, and a team leader, Evan, walks in on him and is like, hey, they got these new things at the Faz Tower called Bobbiedots that have just been added. And Abe's like, okay, cool. Then Abe goes into work and then is sent to admin. Then Abe goes to the new manager and is promoted to team leader for the Mega Pizzaplex, which means he is able to live in the Faz Tower now. Abe goes to the Faz Tower, but there is no room available for him. Front lady says, hey, yeah, there is no room available. There is one that's off limit, but no one's allowed in there, and it's closed for indefinitely. So he tricks this lady and says, hey, there's a guy out front who's got flowers for you. You should probably go check that out. I'll stay right here. And she just goes out of the front desk, and Abe goes behind the counter to try and get the apartment changed to be that it's open, but isn't able to. But he's able to get a key card to his apartment and to the Faz Tower, and it's made on a 3D printer. Then Abe goes and grabs his stuff from the apartment, and the apartment is really nice and clean and like fancy, and there are screen panels that are halfway up from the wall. Then a robot anime girl with pigtails appears, and her name is Bobbiedots 3, but she just goes by 3. Her things that she does is that she cooks and cleans, and she kind of keeps everything, monitors his health, and kind of keeps everything overall. And 3 says they haven't had guests in a while. Abe goes to work and is teaching a new employee how the DJ Music Man kind of power thing works, and Abe goes into the apartment and sees that there are 3 other holograms on the screens. There's the pink one, which is 3, 2 is green, blue is 1. And the personalities are that 2 is kind of a nerdy, kind of is all about schedule stuff. 1 is a kind of social media slash music kind of person. And so Abe goes into the closet to kind of put down all of his stuff and sees that the previous person's clothes were still here. And the person is named Landon, and all of their clothes are still here. Then Abe has a party with the Bobbiedots, and they eat dinner, and then Abe decides that he's going to give all 3 of the Bobbiedots names. So 3 is going to be named Rose, 2 is going to be named Olivia, and 1 is going to be named Gemini. Abe asks what happened to Landon, and they avoid the question. And then Abe finds a strange trapdoor on the ceiling, but they avoid the question of what's with the trapdoor. Abe fixes Phaser Blast spot that was kind of messing up. Then Abe goes to bed and is woken up by something, but doesn't see anything. Another night goes by, and something woke him up, but Abe sees something move at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, okay, I'm done with this. He asks the Bobbiedots again, what's with the trapdoor, and the Bobbiedots say that the trapdoor is for the Gen 1 Bobbiedots. They would kind of maintain the rooms and kind of all of that, and there were kind of animatronic looking ones that were connected to cables. Rose, Olive, and Gemini are Phase 2 Bobbiedots. And then Abe has random kind of freak accidents. He almost cut his hand up in the trash disposal, and he goes into the tub and is almost boiled alive. Abe thinks that the Gen 1 Bobbiedots are trying to kill him. Then Abe goes to the daycare and fixes the generators and teaches the new guy how to fix the generators. Then Abe goes home and catches fire, and the Gen 2 Bobbiedots, Rose, Olive, and Gemini, are hacked by the Gen 1 Bobbiedots, and says that she might be the one who's behind it all, and says that she thinks that Abe is Landon. And then Landon throws up because he's potential food poisoning, and hears a sound from the trap door, and the story ends. Wow. What a story. It's kind of a lot, but I have some definite theories that I want to talk about. So yeah, let's get started. So, I want to mention that this story was the most accurate to the Mega Pizzaplex. Like, just the Mega Pizzaplex in general. Out of all of the stories we had so far, this is definitely the most accurate. Like, wow. So I want to mention that the Faz Tower is really decked out. Like, it's got a hot tub, it's got an office, it's got a rooftop swimming pool. It's got like everything you could ever want. And it's like really impressive. Like, damn, it's like, it kind of reminds me of the VIP room. And I'm wondering if this is kind of what it's supposed to represent, quite possibly, of like, oh yeah, because there's a VIP room that's cut off that we don't see. So I think this might come up again in part 2, but Abe mentions that he kind of cheated on his resume at working at the Mega Pizzaplex, so it might come back and bite him in the butt of like, hey, we saw that you didn't meet all these requirements. You lied about some of this stuff. We're gonna have to fire you. I feel like that's definitely gonna bite him in the butt. When Abe is in Roxy Road, he mentions that all the animatronics should be shut down at night. Now, kind of interesting, which makes sense, but it's not very clarified of why the animatronics are on at night. It makes sense because like no one else is there, but I don't know. It just kind of seems interesting that they specifically mentioned all animatronics are shut down at night. The previous personnel director didn't like meeting people because they mentioned that admin got a new person in charge there and said that the previous person didn't really like meeting people in person, which kind of seems strange and kind of makes me feel like maybe that person was a robot or something like that. But it seems strange, and I felt like I needed to mention it. So Rose is able to monitor his health conditions and kind of his blood pressure and blood sugar and all of that, and kind of like what vitamins he needs or what he's low on. But that kind of reminded me of how Freddy was and how he kind of talked to Gregory at the beginning. This line.
I feel you are broken.
Don't worry about it. I'm fine.
No, I feel that something is wrong. I am taking you to the first aid station.
It kind of reminded me of that, so yeah. They mentioned DJ Music Man, and they mentioned Bouncer Mode, and which is a duffel bag that we see in the game, and that kind of makes me wonder if the duffel bag seems so weird and strange in Security Breach. Like, they don't feel, it feels like sometimes they're leaked email, but like at the same time, some of them, it sounds like it's someone talking to someone else, which is like strange and weird, and I kind of have a theory maybe because in the game, the duffel bags have a sticky note kind of looking thing, and I think that might be the connection to this room, and maybe it's kind of whoever is in this room. Currently, I am definitely on with Charlie being in this room, and I think Charlie's kind of going around taking notes and listening in and getting information. Also, we explain that why DJ Music Man has Bouncer Mode, and it was supposed to be taken out because someone messed up with the code. I want to know who coded it, because this is like the second time I felt like we've mentioned someone messing up with coding. Another thing is, Abe mentions that he would hide stuff around the Mega Pizzaplex, and I felt like that was a definite connection to all of these kind of areas that are hidden, kind of just knickknacks of just kind of what looks like just people hiding. Now, I do have a theory about all of this and who they could be, but that's a kind of whole theory for another video. I don't have enough evidence. I need to kind of find all the hiding places because there's like a lot of hiding places. I don't think it's like 20 different kids who are in here. I think it's only 3 or 4, and I think there's a story to tell with this, but that will be saved for another video. So they mentioned Sun and Moon, which was so cool, and I'm so happy because we got answers finally, and it was just like, this is kind of a mini theory. They mentioned Sun and Moon were part of an old staged act where Sun would be a good guy and Moon would be a dark evil villain. Now, they mentioned it was an old staged act. If you look at them and like look at the details in Moon's and Sun's face, it looks like wood grain. It looks like it's made out of wood. And I always thought that was weird. I'm like, that's kind of weird. It looks like they're made out of wood. That's okay. Now, we haven't really seen any animatronics that are kind of wood made, except for kind of Balloon Boy and Marinette. Marinette kind of isn't really wood kind of base, but Balloon Boy kind of has that more wooden kind of look. Now, why the Sun, like, what's with the stage act? Well, I think it was specifically made for not to be a mainstream kind of thing. I think it was for someone's personal kids. Now, who could the personal kids be? Well, you would probably think, oh yeah, it's gotta be Henry. Henry was the one who made the animatronics. Yes, but I want to mention that it is awfully like Balloon Boy, because I feel like it's connection to Balloon Boy. Now, Balloon Boy really looks like the animatronics that weird animatronics we see in Sister Location. So I think Afton made the Sun and Moon animatronic. And then I remembered that we got this photo a while back. And it was just kind of like, what the hell is this? This is so weird. This is so, like, what is this? Now, we see a moon, and a lot of people are like, oh, this is Moon animatronic. I'm like, yeah, it is. I definitely think so, but why is Moon here? And we see a boy who looks like Crying Child. I think Sun and Moon were originally made for Elizabeth and Crying Child and Michael, and I do believe this is concept art of what Into Madness was going to be. And I hope that we still get Into Madness. I think Into Madness was going to be a origin story, maybe with Sun and Moon maybe being mainly the main characters, of like seeing their origin here, of like being kind of just like a show for the kids. So yeah, I definitely think that this is a connection to that, Sun and Moon. And I think this is kind of a further connection of Afton made these animatronics. And I'm now just noticing that the ground that Crying Child is on is brick. I am just noticing that. Okay, good to know. Interesting. Okay, but yeah, that is my theory there. Now let's get to the main meat of the theory. So the Bobbiedots kind of reminded me of the VR sisters. I know they're not exactly the same, but yeah, I feel like they kind of reminded me of the VR sisters. Now, Gen 2. The Gen 2 ones had pigtails, and the Gen 1s, it's not described how the Gen 1s look like, but I feel like they would look like Endo, but with cables, which is really cool. I really, like, honestly, I think the Endo part was probably the coolest part of Security Breach. I think the Gen 2 and the Gen 1s are supposed to be Elizabeth. Now, hear me out. I think that because the Gen 2s are different kind of personalities, of musical, kind of social media kind of personality, and nerd, basically older, kind of more adult kind of personality, and like a kiddie, childish one. Now, these could represent Elizabeth's, what was supposed to be Elizabeth's different kind of phases and personality. They specifically mention that the Gen 2 Bobbiedots had pigtails. Where have I seen an animatronic with pigtails? Baby. Now, earlier in the story, I mentioned that she, and that Gen 1 was a she. Now, Gen 1 could be like a hive mind, kind of exactly like how Afton is, of Glitch Trap. Now, I think that Elizabeth's soul is in the Mega Pizzaplex, and is supposed to be like a Glitch Trap Part 2, because it seems like Elizabeth definitely plays a role in the Mega Pizzaplex. Some way, somehow, Elizabeth is there. Elizabeth, Puppet, and Crying Child. 3 very important characters, and Cassidy too. But Cassidy is in Princess Quest. This might be our connection to Elizabeth, to the Mega Pizzaplex. Part 2, I definitely think, is going to have it that Elizabeth kind of looking one is going to be established. We see Elizabeth kind of description one in Frailty. Frailty might be connection to this next story, quite possibly. I definitely am excited for part 2, because they kind of left us on a cliffhanger, and I hope to God they don't do this. I hope they don't have it that part 2 is going to be a prequel to part 1 and what we learn about Landon. And I hope to God they don't do that, because I'm like, I swear, if you're just going to leave us on the stupid cliffhanger and not know what happened to Abe, because technically they could just end it like that and just be like, hey, screw it, we're going to make it a prequel and learn about more of Gen 1. I hope they don't do that. I hope we get like a continuation of a story, but I hope that it's kind of a continuation of the next story and not we're going to do it a prequel, so you're just going to have to take a guess of what happens to Abe. But yeah. I definitely think that the Gen 1, or the main Gen 1 animatronic is going to be Elizabeth. But yeah, that is my theory. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It took me so long. Man, I forgot my intro. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means so much to me to you took the time out of your day to watch this video. Man, I am terrible at this. So I want to talk about last week's video. I'm sorry I'm a day late for last week's video. Hopefully this video isn't late either, but that last video was giving me so much crap. Like, oh my gosh. It took me forever to edit that video. Like it kept crashing, or the video wouldn't load, even though it had the little line thing of like, hey, yeah, the video's playing. Like, everything about that video was going wrong. Like, it took me forever to upload that video. Like, I was a little mad. I was a little mad about that video taking so long, and I'm sorry. But I'm not gonna make this a long and drawn out and outro. Thank you guys for watching these videos. These videos have been doing really good, and I am like so proud that these videos are doing good. It's like I enjoy doing theory videos. Yes, I kind of do miss doing animations, and I'm definitely hoping to do some more animations soon. I'm probably gonna get a break in February, hopefully. But yeah, I'm excited for what's to come for these videos, or these theory videos, and I hope to do some animation. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, cheeseburgers, waffles, and bologna.